there is always going to be good fish. There's always going to be bad fish. Do not stop till you find the good fish. That's what I would say.
If I'm supposed to, try my hands on non-clinical, how do I go about it? Like, how do I apply, and what is the chance of me actually getting that role? And in fact, why would somebody want a doctor over there? Like, do I have an upper hand when it comes to non-clinical roles compared to somebody who just has another degree?
So you literally answered the question on your own, but I'll tell you what, the answer is yes. Trust me, the amount of rigorous training that you are given as a doctor, it is something which is out. And speaking of our college, at least I know the amount of training and the resources that they are giving to us. So we get to learn a lot. And usi cheez ko what I did was I just applied what I had learned. And in fact, chalo, mera baat separate hai. I'm talking about I literally have 29 clients placed. All of those 29 clients are placed. Everybody had an upper hand. See, there are some places you will not have an edge, but on most of the fronts you will, because like I told you, we know how to sell, we know how to manage, we know everything that's there. If you're into research, you know research. So that is the first thing, that you will, yes, 100% you will have an edge over someone else. The only point where we lack is as interns, because I was an intern once, not so far back, 3 years back. I know how underconfident I couldn't say Dr. Anayata Deo. I couldn't even like say it out loud, because obviously we have our professors and we are looking up to them, and they are like enigmas of sorts, and hum chote ducklings hain, theek hai? So we never feel that. But when I got out into the corporate world, I realized, oh damn, that is like, they actually think I'm a doctor. That was news to me too. Okay. So but jokes apart, the thing was, in fact, my first job, I did a part-time job. Like I said, I took every opportunity that came my way. My employer told me that we can't pay you less because you're a doctor. And I was shook. At that point, I understood ki, okay, so that is something, so it's your superpower. That is something which I really want you guys to take away from this, no matter if you're in the clinical or the non-clinical practice. It doesn't matter where you are, but take this away, that at the end of the day, you are a doctor and that's your superpower. So that's one thing. So you'll definitely have an edge over any other degree. Apart, and specifically in the healthcare sector. Uske baad, if you want to switch to the another domain in the same sector, for example, marketing in say another sector, you can definitely do that. Okay. So apart from that, the other part of the question was, how do we apply? So first of all, you need a good resume. Now, what you need to note here is, you need a resume that is ATS compliant. Okay, I'll talk about that maybe in another question. Ask me another question on this. So, you need to have a good resume. You need to have a good cover letter. Cover letter basically क्या होता है? Resume, CV तो सबको पता है क्या होता है. Cover letter is basically fan fiction as to why you want to work on the company, not with the company. I'm not kidding on that. Okay, so you have to basically, your cover letter displays your communication skills. These two things need to be really, really strong, because that is how you land an interview. And these are just marketing documents, so you're just marketing yourself, right? Then comes networking. Now, I cannot stress more on this, that you need to network, because you are competing with people. This is something which we need to understand. You are competing with people who have qualification in the same sector, and they have education also in the same sector. And you might also be competing with dentists and doctors who want to get into the non-clinical field. So you need to stand out by putting yourself out there and asking people if they have opportunities, internship job opportunities. And one platform as interns which you can use is Internshala. Internshala is great. This is not a sponsorship, guys. Internshala is a brilliant place to get paid internships, because I believe in this very strongly. If you're good at something, never do it for free, ever in your life. Sometimes, yes, if you're working for like a huge company and you want to gain experience, so you can pick up some unpaid internships to just start off with, but always try to get paid internships. always. So Internshala is a great place which you can check out. LinkedIn is also a good platform for networking, but there are not a lot of internship opportunities. There are more job opportunities out there. But for networking, to reach out to people, company CEOs, VPs, hiring managers, and asking them for a internship, that works out. So all of my, I've placed around 6 interns, all of them via Internshala and at paid internships. So it is something which, so three things, to sum it up, three things that you need is a strong ATS compliant resume, a good cover letter, very strong cover letter demonstrating who you are, and networking. That is something that you need. And Internshala is a great tool to find internships.
Ma'am, what is ATS again?
Okay, so ATS is a huge topic which takes a lot of time, but I will not take your time and bore you with this. But one thing, when I started out, when I made my resume, Palak made me go through my last resume. The first resume that I made, I had written all sorts of crap in that. Literally, I had no idea how it was supposed to go. I had written my birth date, I had written my full address. These are things that you should never do on your resume. So coming to the ATS, so basically everything is digitalizing. So has the hiring process. So the recruiter, first what used to happen was physical copies of the resumes used to go to the recruiters. Now what has happened is there's a filter channel. जैसे skin defense system होता है सबसे पहला, वैसे ATS is the defense system. They filter out people on the basis of something known as keywords, which are important non-clinical keywords that you need to have. ATS का मतलब होता है applicant tracking system. There are different types of ATSs out there in the world. So what you need to do is you need to make a keyword optimized resume to get through the ATS. That is the first thing. Only then your recruiter views it. So a lot of times what used to happen was 1-2 बजे रात को mail आता है that you've been rejected. वो जो 1-2 बजे mail आता है, that's obviously no recruiter is sitting and rejecting your profile, right? So that is basically your applicant tracking system rejecting you because you don't have a keyword optimized resume. Now, another thing which you have to keep in mind as a clinician, like as someone who's coming from a purely clinical background, non-clinical resume jo hota hai, wo it's very hard to strike because you will not have those particular keywords. But there are certain and where do you pick up these keywords from? You pick it up from internship descriptions and job descriptions. So all the responsibilities for that, usme se you have to pick up keywords. So now this job description, say for example, you have good communication skills. Put that in your resume, put it there, because that is something which is very important. If you're say going in for a, let's say you're going in for a healthcare consultant role, right? You need to say that you have good communication skills. Otherwise, how are you going to consult with anybody? So this is the way how we optimize the resume to the ATS. Again, your resume needs to be just a one page. Do not put in any tables. Another thing, ATS does not pass 2-column format. So I'll show you what a 2-column format needs. So this is how your resume should ideally look.
Okay.
This is how it should look. Take up the whole position, take up the entire thing on this screen. I mean, on this page, take entire thing up. Do not never put your full address there because you're submitting it to multiple people. Do not put your picture on it. And definitely here too, I've written, this is for people with some years of experience. But when you are graduating as a intern, you should have your education on top. And then if you have any internship experience below that, then talk about any extracurricular or academic experience that you have. Then you can also mention your volunteer experience. So this is how you make it more ATS compliant. Now, another thing is you need to remember a recruiter only views your resume for 6 seconds. It is researched that there's only 6 seconds. So you have to make sure that it is extremely scannable. Matlab, when he sees it, he can take out the best points out of your resume and that's it. He's done out of that. Then when I spoke about these communication skills, it should come right below where we are talking about your soft skills. There's a specific section for soft skills. So you should add your communication skills there. So yeah, that is how you make an ATS compliant resume. But again, it's a huge topic. So I tried to sum it up as much as I could.
the work experience is different in India and abroad? And also, is it beneficial that somebody starts out in India as a non-clinical, to start out in the non-clinical setup and then moves abroad and, works it out?
Okay. So this is a bit tricky because first, like, our degree is not recognized outside. Like, even if you go outside, you have to do a DDS or you have to get licensed. So that's one tricky part. So this will be counted as any other bachelor's degree for a non-clinical role, specifically for a non-clinical role. Second thing that you need to keep in mind is when we are starting out and when we are it's it's difficult. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's difficult to directly get into a non-clinical role outside without a master's degree. That is one thing. However, I'm not saying go ahead and do a master's before you're even sure. This is something I do not recommend. Decide what you want to do and then go ahead with your master's. Like, work for some time, understand what master's even means. It is something for your passion. So decide on that first and then move out. Um, I, and when I say it's difficult because you need to find someone to sponsor your visa. So it's not very difficult, like it's not impossible, but it's slightly a bit difficult. And if someone wants to do that, I definitely want to help you out. So come to me. So, but another option that you can utilize is work here, get into a company that can send you out. So work here for 2-3 years and then move out. That is something that you can do. Apart from that, the working culture, even in India, in the non-clinical sector, like I told you, doctors are highly respected in that sector as well. We do have a good work-life balance as outside. We do have a good pay. And see, pay promotion depends on your capability to crack it more than anything else. Trust me, that is something that I've realized is you need to ask for it because you will never be given it. You need to ask for it. So you ask for that, you work well, and then you get promoted in the company. So that's the idea on how this works. Apart from that, yeah, I think outside definitely the pay is a lot more because economically the country, depending on the economic status of the country, the pay is a lot more. But here I feel there are multiple opportunities where you can get in, get a good work-life balance, get a good salary, and learn a lot. That is something which I've seen not only by my experience. I really like my company. By my client experiences as well, even they are doing pretty well. So I think both are at par. Just on the pay front, abroad is a bit better.
The non-clinical work culture is good in India.
So बात ये है कि work culture, I personally like it. All my clients are, what even we strive to do is, see, there is always good fish in the sea, bad fish in the sea. That is outside, also inside. So here, one of my clients, I give an example of this, and I'm recently very pissed off at this. So she gave an interview. They knew she didn't have experience. She gave an interview. Okay, done. Then she was given she was given 3 assignments, and generally that doesn't happen. 3 assignments, 5 days. Chalo, she did, and it was pretty extensive. Revamping a whole course. She did that. They asked her to come to the office and present it, which was pretty far away from her house. It was a whole different city. Presented there, she did not get a call back. They did not call her back. They did not tell her if she's selected or rejected. So when I put it up on my Instagram one day, I was, bothered about it. So one of my someone replied to it and said the same thing happened to them in Canada as well. So the point being that there is always going to be good fish, there's always going to be bad fish. Do not stop till you find the good fish. That's what I would say. Because culture हर जगह का खराब हो सकता है, and you might, मतलब ऐसा हो सकता है that you might find something which is not suitable to your needs. You might not have that, but overall, if you find the right thing, I think you can get into that. Culture wise, it's good. Like I said, work life balance is good. So people are also nice. Touch wood.
So to summarize, I think it all depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
There's nothing like clinical, non-clinical. It is what you really want to do. So to all the interns watching here, I would really appreciate if you are not looking at the crowd, like ma'am said. She found her way out and now she's helping others to, find out what they really want. So I think the gist of everything is that you need to find out what you really want.
Yeah. And just one small thing to add. Um, I am not saying, if you talk to me, obviously I have a preference for non-clinical, but if you're ready to, I miss doing patients sometimes. I really do, because that is something which I used to like to do. But then I had my other reasons ki meko isliye nahi karna. But find out what your passion lies in first. That is something which is extremely important. Ki even if you have an ounce of regret ki yaar agar maine patient nahi kiya na to mere ko bahut regret hoga, to mat छोड़ो. But if you don't have, अगर आपको ये regret होता है कि मैंने अगर नॉन क्लिनिकल में अभी ट्राई नहीं किया ना तो मैं कभी नहीं करूंगी या करूंगा, then you go ahead and try for it. So basically figure out where your passion lies.
So I would also want to add on to this that even if you are going to the clinical sector, at some point you're going to have your own clinic. That's the role people aspire for. So even though you're setting up your own clinic, there's a lot of non-clinical stuff that you need to do yourself.
Definitely.
So, I mean, it's not that these are the skills that you require for anything. So even dentistry is a business. So when it comes to your own clinic, there are a lot of things that you need to handle on your own. So like, it's not a bad thing to try out non-clinical options, because it will just add on to something that will help you later in your life.
Definitely. 100%. And if you get into that, you do extracurricular or whatever you're doing, even if, say for example, they're not considering it in your resume, at least you have built your personality. Trust me, it's helped me a lot by whatever extra thing that I did. So going the extra mile, say for example, you're just learning Excel sheets are going to be useful at your clinic as well. So there's no harm. There is nothing that can go wrong if you upskill yourself. Literally nothing that can go wrong. So yeah.